It is 7:38. We are out of executive session and into public session. Apologize for being a few minutes late as we had a few things to talk about. If everybody will please rise and join me in the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Dino sends his apologies for not being here. He is celebrating Passover. And with that, I'd like to move into special presentations. We have two on the agenda. One is Charlene Peterson from New Jersey School Board Association. She is at another meeting. She will be coming probably just after 8 o'clock or so. So with that, we'll delay that presentation and we'll go right to Mr. Forte's goal number 4 update.
This is our district. Everybody hear me? Picking me up. Is there a mic?
Yes.
This is our district goal. It was goal number 4 on communications. One of the things in the goal was to survey the community. We got 419 responses from 2,016 unique email addresses. So we have more people than we have email addresses because we have fathers and mothers. But this is the unique email addresses in our system to our families. So the survey was open from February 28 to March 29. And again, districts agree, 87%. So 87% of our respondents think that the Friday folder is a useful tool. The district and school websites are useful communications tools. Agree and strongly disagree, 90%. I get my news about the Denville schools via these sources. Select all that apply. District and school websites, Friday folder, district school Twitter, community/PTA Facebook pages, paper flyers, other. Total responses, 1,137, because again, they can answer more than once. We had the district type stuff, like website, Twitter, Friday folder, came out to 62%. So we could see this as an area that we could improve on. And we're thinking about different areas we could do to fix this, or maybe make that number a little higher than 62%. I'm satisfied with the amount and quality of the communications from the district and schools. 86% agreed or strongly agreed that they are satisfied with the communication quality and amount. Regarding the Denville Schools app, I downloaded it and find it useful, and but I didn't. And then the other one is I didn't know about the app. So 73% either don't know about it or thought it was useful. By the way, we have over 700 downloads now, so we're pretty close to our goal. Our goal was to have 1,000 downloads after 1 year of the launch, which was in October. So by October 2017, we expect to have 1,000 downloads. So the comments about the results on the app were pretty good considering we only launched it a few months ago. And here's where the comment themes. So I looked at them all and decided, lumped them into a category. So there was a few people that wrote thank you, did a great job communicating. One of the problems in the beginning was when I first sent out the survey, I forgot to click the button that says you don't have to answer the comments question. So then I had just people putting like a question mark or a dot or something because you had to answer it. So then when I removed that, some of the other type of answers didn't come out. So they like the app, the website needs improvement, you need one source for information, the app organization needs improvement, and add a newsletter. So one of the things about the ad newsletter was paper, and we're really trying to get away from paper. So the majority of the people, though, most of the comments were that the website needed improvement, and the good thing is we're getting a new website this summer. We have to get it because it's not ADA compliant, and the current website we have now is no longer going to be, supported by, once Christmas comes next year, it won't be supported. ADA compliant, so you got that up. ADA is like the American with Disabilities Act. I think it has to do with the size of the font and the way it's organized. It has to be more friendly for disabilities. It could be other disabilities too. I was just assuming it's vision, but I'm not sure. So the ADA came out and said, anybody who doesn't have a website that meets the criteria, you need to upgrade your website. Our company's going out of business basically in this. They're not doing it anymore, so we're going to switch over. We are going to switch over to the one that we use currently with our communication system, School Messenger, so they'll all be tied in together. All right, so that was all my comments on that. Does anybody have any questions about the results of the survey?
I think, just comment that it's very good. You know, I mean, there's a little room for improvement, but I think we've got high marks of all the areas. On the, we need a newsletter. I mean, the Friday folder, to me, would be your weekly newsletter. I don't know, it's just more paper, you want more paper, or they want a separate newsletter?
Well, most of the people were talking about paper, and we are going away from it. So that Friday folder goes to about 5,500 email addresses now because we've expanded it, and it goes to 4,500, and 55% of the people open it. So it's a pretty good open rate. And if you notice, the little advertisements we have in there actually pays for the Friday folder. So the Friday folder is really free to us. We don't have, the person that runs it pays a day's salary. It takes about a day for her to operate that, and it pays for the $800 fee for constant contact. So it's not like it's a ton of revenue, but at least we have this source and we do it for free basically now.
Now, there was a time when some people didn't have access to a computer or a device to read an online newsletter. So we still give those kids a paper newsletter?
Anybody who asks for it, we would.
Okay.
But most people now have phones. We only have like 2 people in the district with no email address.
Okay. So those 2 people get paper.
They have to ask for it though. I don't know if they ask for it or not. If they ask for it though, we'll give it to them.
Okay.
But they could also go to the library too, right? Or
Library, your place now, there's a lot of different places you can come. If somebody asked me if they could use one of the computers in the district, we'd let them come and check their email if they wanted to. Any other questions or anything?
Steve, one of the things that jumped out to me was 17% of, and you brought it up as something I think you guys are going to look to address, 17% of the folks that responded were getting their information from Facebook, which we are not controlling whatsoever. Those are community-run Facebook pages.
Yeah.
And then only 5% are getting it from Twitter, which is controlled by us.
Right.
And I don't want to say controlled, but the information is coming from us, so I think there's a lot of, one of the concerns I see and I hear about is misinformation being put out by stuff on a, Lakeview parents page.
Right.
That's not run by Lakeview, or it's just parents started up, which is, I have no issue with the site itself, it's just, I want to make sure the correct information is getting out to the people in the right manner, and that seemed like a high percentage of people that are relying as their primary source for something that doesn't come from the district.
It's funny, I agree with you, and I was surprised it was only 17. I thought it was going to be a lot higher too. But I think it's an area that we should really consider. Maybe we do an informational type, the way I envision it would be more of a, rather than pushing out information, more putting where you can get it. Like in other words, what I like to do with this, and I've done it before, was go on the website, go on and say, please click on this link. All the information you're asking for is right here. And then just get people used to looking at that for the answer. So that way I'm not sitting there like just doing Facebook all day. Instead, I would just be putting out information. So I'm thinking about that this is something we should consider.
Did you advertise on Facebook about the
I
survey?
don't have Facebook.
I know, so people that get their information from Facebook may not have known the survey existed.
But that,
I mean, and that's the other thing with the numbers. The people who filled in the survey obviously
Yeah, but
read
you
their
don't-
Friday
you don't-
folders because that's where.
Dino put it on there. Dino put it on there.
That's why I asked, was it
I didn't do it
advertised?
because I don't have Facebook, but he did put it on there.
On all 3 schools' Facebook pages?
I'm not sure if he did Lakeview. I don't know if he has. He has a kid in both schools in Riverview and Valley.
It's just, I mean, it is a self-selected group, obviously, of people that filled this in.
Well, and I also, it's interesting, I thought the same thing, because 35% of the people said they didn't know about the app, but 73% of the people have read their Friday folders, and if you read the Friday folder, we've advertised the app multiple times in the Friday folder, so,
They didn't say how well.
I mean, and I was going to ask Steve the same question about the click-through rate or the read rate that we get on Constant Contact, because obviously that gives us some data to be able to analyze. So I was happy to see they're pretty close, because I would have actually expected a bigger variance on people that respond to this, because like Mariana said, they're self-selected, they want to help.
It's real, I mean, the survey in and of itself gives us some hopeful information, but for me, it's very hard to know because how many unique email addresses did you say?
We
you
said
sent?
in 2016.
Sent it to.
I sent it to
You sent it
2016.
to 2016 and we got,
419 total.
so.
I mean, people could have done it twice, there was no way you could tell that.
So we got a 20% response rate, which actually for a survey is not bad at all.
Actually, I did the statistical calculations, and it is statistically significant.
Okay, yeah, no, that's higher than I thought it would be, okay.
All right, good?
Good, thank you.
And a quick Google about an ADA compliant website, it does look like it's having the ability to convert the text to Braille, text to speech. If you have pictures, there's no way to convert that to speech. So
How do you convert a website to Braille?
I did not have enough time to read it. Yes, they have something, but if our website doesn't interface with the program that converts it, then,
Yeah, okay, great, thank you.
and speech to text definitely is one of the things in here.
Sounds good. Mr. Forte, you want to jump into superintendent
That
comments?
was my comment on that.
Great, thank you very much. Dr. Cullis, any assistant superintendent comments?
This week, the school report cards were published and open to the public. They will be articles that will be coming out in newspapers and the online news feeds about our school report card. So some exciting things that came out of it. They did rank us. They do no longer go by the I district factor grouping for this particular assessment. So they put you in order of the state of what percentile you would be ranked. And our middle school, so they clump them all together. They don't go by grade. So 6 through 8 language art was in the 94th percentile in the state, which is better than we've ever done, including when it was NJ Ask. So that was exciting. And then the elementaries, if I combine the two elementaries together, it's 90th percentile.
Yeah, but can you explain how they take more report cards and report cards?
No, it's called the school report card, so
Oh,
the state gives
okay,
your
the data
school,
report
yes,
card, okay.
yes, the public data based on our part
I was
test
confused,
from.
we just had third marking period report cards in, so.
So our park data for 2015-16, so it's an entire year ago, which always can be confusing to parents because now we're taking the park assessment right now. But this is the data from last year. It's now been compared to other districts throughout the state, and they, even though it was like, we were 88% proficient in ELA in like 8th grade. But how did that rank in the state? That was in the 94th percentile. So I was very excited to see that. The math was lower, and well, we knew that, and that's why we made all the changes for this year. So going into it, we were in the 70s, 70th percentile, varying which school. But we knew that, and we knew that we would have to make some changes, which we have. We get the math coach, new textbooks, new personnel, and we made so many changes. So I'm excited to see how we do this year. I did publish one of our, Mr. Forte included in the board report, one of my merit goal data, and I discussed it with the committee. So you can look at that. It's on for the April 24th date, I think, for approval. But you can look at the data. We have had a number of students attending regularly to our homework help. We have now, tomorrow will be our 25th session, and we have a number of kids that have come to every session. So that's very exciting. Right now we had, of the numbers, we had one student that was inconsistent with the homework, so we haven't seen a real change. But we had 8 students that had a 25% increase in homework completion, 2 students that had a 50% increase in homework completion, and 18 that were consistent all year. So we're already getting a high percentage of their homework completed and continue to do so. And then we just looked at some anecdotal records from the teachers to see other effects of the program, like more confidence, better grades. You know, so we saw a variety of things going on with the students besides just the fact that they're completing their homework. So according to our discussion within our committee, we do want to continue the program next year. So we will look to funding through Title I again. this goal included securing the building, getting internet installed, getting the tutors and the equipment and the supplies and the funding to support that, along with the students to actually come. So I do think this is a very worthwhile program, and we'd like to continue. This concludes the Assistant Superintendent's report.
Just one quick question, Dr. Smolis. The comparison groups you talked about, were those the groups that change every single year? I know there's been a lot of conversation about moving away from district badger groups into these comparison groups, and there's been a lot of not unhappy people with how they've been calculated and how they change every year, and it's hard to really understand what you're being compared to.
This report did not report out any comparison groups. They just gave us a state percentile where we ranked in the state. So that, as of now, I have no idea in comparison to particular school districts. Once all of these school reports now are public, then Mr. Forte and I are going to go through and do our own comparison group that we created. But as far as the list that we got the last 2 years, we haven't been sent that list. So I don't know if that has been abandoned or not. But what it says on the report card is just like 94th percentile for the state.
Thank you. Maris, any business administrator comments?
Just a reminder, the public budget hearing will be the next board meeting, April 24th. The budget will be advertised in the Daily Record on April 19th. And I encourage, if you guys have any questions and concerns, please contact me, email me, call me, or please come see me.
Thank you.
That's all I have.
I should have put this on before. I did include this in my report, but just to make sure you're all on this. Next Tuesday, the 18th, I'll be presenting our budget to the town council. It's an annual thing that we do. The seniors did not have an opening in their April meeting. The next one is July. They committed to July due to just personal vacation time at that time. So what I did do was we sent them a flyer so they could pass it out to their members with the dates. Would be the 18th and the 24th, and with the link to the website that has all of that and my email phone.
Thank you. And it is 7:56. I'm going to open for public comments. Anything germane to the district? Seeing none, I'm going to close open public comments at 7:56. And we're going to move on to the remainder of our agenda. Mr. Lure, if you wouldn't mind going through old business that we'll talk about at the next meeting or take action on the next meeting?
Sure. Next meeting, we will be voting to approve the treasurer's school monies and the board secretary reports. We will be also education reports, the report of student enrollment, the medical office, both in March of this year. We will also be voting to affirm HIV cases, and we will be approving minutes from the
Sorry,
March
Mr. Lure,
13th.
Mr. Lure, the HIV case will be for action.
No, he's still in D.
Oh, I apologize.
LD 05 is the one I'm talking about here, not the one that we'll be voting on later. Not a problem. And approving minutes from the March 13th and March 27th regular work session, regular session, executive session meetings.
Any questions about these items? Section 4A, we are going to hold off on that until later in the meeting to take action on. So moving forward, Mr. Capello's not here. Ms. Lindsay, would you take us through 5 new business action to be taken?
Certainly. Tonight, I would like us to vote on item 1A through D. You will find 1D on your addendum, which are resignations and retirements.
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Cass.
I did want to make one quick comment. Seeing Mrs. Sasso's retirement as the school nurse from Lakeview, I've had the honor and privilege of having her as a school nurse for my kids for many years, and her being that comforting voice when they call when my kids have been sick or any issues. So sad to see her retired from that perspective, but happy that she, wishing her well in a happy and healthy retirement.
I would echo that because she was the school nurse all the years. My children were at Lakeview also, and it always was a comfort to have her voice on the other end of the phone.
Any other questions? Roll call, please.
Mr. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Cass?
Yes.
Mrs. DeLuna?
Yes.
Mrs. Lindsay?
Yes.
Mr. Lure?
Yes?
Mrs. Wagner?
Yes.
And Mrs. Lindsay, would you mind walking us through?
At the next meeting, I'm sure Mr. Capello will be back, and he will be taking us through voting on items 1 through 7, which include teachers coming in for a Festival of the Arts, 5th grade play, chaperoning 5th grade play, maternity leave replacements, along with substitute aides and new hire of a bus driver. This is when we're also going to be voting on next time the approval of the job description of the security hall monitor, which was attached to our agenda. At the next meeting, we'll be voting to approve the merit goals completion for Damaris, and also for Mr. Forte or Steve. And wait, I need to flip the page this way. And also for Sam, along with approving to allow a student to complete their classroom observation in our schools. So I guess because we're not voting on it, we don't need a second. And I know we're flying through, but this is when we should talk about the job description for the security hall monitor.
Talk about it now, it's going to the personnel committee on Thursday.
Okay. Do you want us to wait till then? That's fine. I will be there on Thursday to hear the discussion. Okay.
Any other questions? Seeing none, if Mr. Lure, if you would walk us through instruction program?
Sure, as soon as I turn the mic back on. Next meeting, we will be approving 2 items, or possibly 2 items. So workshops with expenses currently does not have any names or events under it, but I'm sure that will be changed by then. The other item that will be approved is the list of field trips that was attached to our agenda this week.
Any questions? And then I'll walk through policy revisions. So at our next meeting, we will be voting on second reading and adoption of a plethora of regulations and policies, as well as first reading for district sustainability, which Mr. Forte included on his most recent report. Any questions on those policies?
I would just make a comment. I was lucky enough, I feel, to be a sub on I guess I was on the Buildings and Grounds Committee when they came in to speak about the district sustainability committee policy. And I read it now that it's in its final form, and I'm very happy that we're hopefully going to be passing this policy in a matter of, I guess, next month sometime, since it'll be up for first reading at our next meeting. That the district is taking steps towards making sure everybody is on the same page, that we're striving towards more sustainable practices. So I'm happy to see us doing this. And as the board member who was assigned to the town sustainability committee many, many years ago, And it was one of the first things that they talked to us about it. It's a long time coming, and I'm very excited that we're doing
I think that helps the town's green sustainability
it. It
initiative
also helps, I mean, we all,
towards
we
more
now
funds.
have our own programs, and it'll help us, I believe, towards our hoping to get bronze certification as is, at least some of the schools. I don't know if it's not a district-wide, it's each school, I guess. But yes, and it definitely, everything we do also helps the town.
Just point of information, were these, they seem mostly personnel curriculum, are they assigned subcommittee work, or are we
All the policies,
yeah, or are we all, how are?
all these policies came through a committee. Like the special ed ones all came through Sandy's committee, IMP. Internal controls that came through operations, 1570. I think we did affirmative action through there too. Did we, Damaris?
I believe so. I believe so, because it was the March.
This was a big packet of things that were out of compliance due to some new regulations in the state with our special ed regulations, and also for our affirmative actions called comprehensive equity plan. So these have been policies that we have to have updated by May.
Okay, like,
Any other questions? Seeing none, if Mrs. Galuna, would you step us through finance?
sure, at our next meeting, we'll be moving 6 items as listed on your agenda under letter D. These include the checks, the state contract for software for network support and help desk support, school messenger, joint transportation agreement with the Ed Services Commission, and the final submission of the budget.
I got a question about number 3. It says that we have, it's a projected hourly rate of 45 an hour based on 37 and a half hours a week with a maximum amount of 81,000. At 45 hours, 45 bucks an hour, that's 1,800 hours. Does that mean when we hit that maximum amount, they're not going to give us help desk anymore, or does that mean that all time after that, we're not paying for?
No, it's an hourly rate, but that's hiring them for 50 hours, 50 weeks a year. So that's what we need.
Okay. And if we need help desk support for more than 37 and a half hours a week for a couple of weeks, when we hit that 1,800 hours, are we cut off, or will we have to pay more, or what?
Yeah, I mean, it's a resolution, so we're paying $45 an hour for 37 and a half hours a week. To put a limit on it, it's $81,000. If we needed to do some other personnel with them, we would have another resolution on here. And we do. We've had other temporary workers from the same company come and help out during the summer and during parks time, and those are other board resolutions. So this is just basically hiring a full-time person through this company. And he's sitting right over there.
Steve, just to clarify, that math comes out to 48 weeks, is that correct?
Yes, 48.
48, okay.
I think I said 50, but
Yeah.
you work, with Christmas and,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
don't, it's a
Just want to make sure. we have
contracted
that
service.
right, if we have to change it, yep, okay.
So that also answers the question, this is the same company, everything as we're using currently,
Yeah.
and it's worked out. If we needed more, we were able to bring in an extra person, which was the whole point of why we went this way to begin with.
Right. Yep.
Any other questions on finance? Seeing none, Mr. Cass, would you move through operations?
At the next meeting, I will ask to approve 2 resolutions. The first one is to award the Lamar Roofing Company, lowest bidder, to do a partial roof replacement at Valley View School in the amount of $239,000. And item number 2 is to accept a donation from the Township of Denville Green Sustainable Committee in the amount of $160 for the purchase of a tree for Riverview Elementary School for Arbor Day. One question I have, has Riverview selected a site to put that tree?
They have.
Yeah.
In the, not near the building, though. I know that's your concern.
And we had 3 trees along the north parking lot at one time. I believe they're all gone now, right?
They wanted, that's why they want to put one there.
Yeah,
To
because
replace it.
they died once that were there.
Yeah. So hopefully we're gonna replace it over there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I told them, Don Cass would be mad if you put a tree that grows more than 9 feet.
Yeah,
Right, Don? I know.
that's right. Well,
Well, you're right.
And we dealt with all the roofing problems. We had, there was no drainage on the roofs because of all the trees. Tree was going there, number one. And then you had the membranes being scratched
Yeah.
and destroyed because the branches were actually on the roof. There was no maintenance of the tree, so it was contributed to a lot of our roof problems.
I remember when I was a kid, I got home a little evergreen tree like this big, planted it right next to the house, like this far away, you know. In like 10 years, the thing was as tall as the house. You know?
And
So,
hopefully it's going to be
you gotta
tall enough
think.
that they won't mow it down, right?
Yeah, you're right. No, it'll be like 6 to 7 feet
No, that's
tall.
great, yeah, because we had they had that conifer that was grown from the seeds on one of the space shuttles.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
oh, that's,
long gone.
yeah, yeah.
I think they mowed that into the ground, well, that.
Sorry.
True story. Can't make it up.
All right. Any other questions on operations? Seeing none, Steve, do you-
Yeah.
Charlene?
Unless you want to finish the discussion items or want to skip this.
Was that? Yeah, I was gonna say, I'd rather let Charlene speak and let her, you know, get out. You came right at the right time, like perfect timing.
Can I help you with something?
Are you going to be using them?
We go in the audience.
It doesn't take that long, so it's up to you. We just came from Jefferson, we did it there, and it took about 12 or 14, about 12 minutes, so, yeah. Okay, you ready? Okay. Well, I just want to say how much I appreciate the opportunity to be here tonight, and I'm excited to officially be presenting the district with the management report of your strategic plan. And I call it your strategic plan because it's a plan that belongs to the whole district. It's a plan that was created with the input of the board, with the staff, with the community, with the parents, and this is the result done of everyone's work. So that's what we're here tonight to present and share with you. And like I said, this was a group work, and that, New Jersey School Board's part of the process is just to help facilitate your work and to help move the process along, and kind of keep us all focused on the work that we needed to do here. And the process was 3 meetings. So the first meeting was identifying where we are now, and we started that in January. And the way that we did that was the superintendent provided a state of the district report to give some basic information about the district. And then all of the stakeholders that were there broke into small groups and identified strengths of the district and challenges that the district was facing. And then we all reported it out to a large group so that everyone had a common understanding of where the district is now. And then the next part of the process, as we move forward up the pyramid, was, we came back in February, and I think we got hit by the snow then that time, right? And we came back in February then and talked about where do we want to be 5 years from now? What is that vision for the district? And then the final meeting then was in March, and we then developed that roadmap. If we know where we are now, identify where we want to be 5 years from now, what is that roadmap that's going to get us there? And so actually the first 2 meetings were really in preparation for this final meeting. Because the first 2 meetings gave us the data that we needed to help write those goal statements. Because when we wrote them, we used all of the work from the first 2 meetings to help identify what those goal statements would be. All of the work that we did was revolved around the mission statement. We made sure that on all of the agendas that the mission statement was there, so that every time you got into your groups and talked about the district, made sure that your mission statement was in front of you, so that would help guide the work that you did. So we said that first meeting, we talked about what some strengths and challenges are of the district, and these are some of the things that people identified in the groups. And the full reports of what everyone's findings were are on the district's website. So this is just an excerpt of some of the group's findings. Some of the strengths for the teachers and staff, your well-maintained schools, technology, your programs, your reputation, security, community volunteers, advanced course offerings, cooperative learning, and the fact that your students are well prepared. And some of the things we see too that's common is a lot of times things that were also on there for strengths are sometimes on there for challenges. Like technology, as much as it is a strength, we need to keep up with it. So on there are the space issues, class sizes, keeping up with technology, state aid, security upgrades, balancing the whole child, math scores, the facilities, after-school activities, and training in new programs. So these are some areas then that the groups identified as challenges that the district is facing. So these were part of the discussion then at that first meeting. So then in the second meeting, we asked the groups, said that was that visioning exercise to help the groups figure out what the district might look like 5 years from now. We asked all the participants to imagine that they were on a deserted island, came back 5 years later to find your school district on the cover of Time magazine. Asked groups to identify what would be written in an article about your district, that it would be a 21st century success. We asked the groups to write a title for their articles. So these are some of the titles that the groups came up with for their articles. And then here are some of the visions then that the groups came up with, that they would like to see civic-minded students, a safe, happy space, a balanced lifestyle, students as educators, bridging the labor gap, resiliency for your students, cross-grade and cross-school collaborations, innovators with social skills, to bring in experts for your students to have cultural competency, emphasis on the real, and future students being interested in the green. So then as we looked at the work from the first meeting and the work from the second meeting and said, what are those things that are in common that we saw between all of the groups? And these were some of the things then that the groups identified as what they saw in common. And the reason that's important is we're continuing to want to narrow this down so that eventually we're going to get it down to like 4 or 5 goal areas that the goal statements will be written. So these were then some of those common threads that the group identified. Social skills, civic-minded, student learning and curriculum, community, well-rounded students. So kind of some of the same things that you saw that we were just talking about are now then surfaced as those common threads. And then we said that last piece of it was, okay, we only had 4 buckets that we could put everything into. All the strengths and the challenges and the visions had to fit in 4 buckets. They would have to be broad enough that everything could fit in there. So what were they? So this is what the group identified as student learning and curriculum, well-rounded student, 21st century leadership and ownership of learning, and then facilities, class size, and security. So you can see how much your group was focused on student achievement and focused on the needs of the students. When you look at 3 of the goal areas are clearly focused on the students. So then each group is asked to write an overarching goal statement that would be broad, that would help carry the district through the next 5 years, and then to break that down into smaller pieces and help us understand what you mean by that goal statement and to make it unique to Denver. So in this case, the group that was working on the student learning and curriculum had a goal statement to provide a rich learning environment based in the New Jersey standards that will challenge students at all levels with a standardized system to measure growth. And then the objectives that the group came up with were to offer rigorous curriculum using experiential learning and unique delivery methods to reach all learning styles, alignment across the grades from school to school, both vertical and horizontal, expanding cultural and linguistic opportunities to maintain positive professional development, expanded infused technology, and differentiation. So now we're identifying the what. So this is the what that we would like to see accomplished in the next 5 years. And then for each one of these objectives under that goal then, the administration will be writing the action plans. How will that be accomplished? And I'll show you in a second a template of an action plan. But this is how the what that the group has identified. The next goal then was well-rounded students. And that goal statement was to create an environment that fosters self-aware, resilient, civically minded, and empathetic citizens. And I think that was one of the things that really came out during this process is how important that character and that citizenship was for your students. So the objectives of this group were to encourage and facilitate civic, community, and global duties, promote emotional learning through self-management, awareness, decision-making, and empathy, expose all students to art, sciences, and politics to find that personal niche for them, and to provide access to educational opportunities for individual strengths and interests. And the next one was 21st century learning and for students' ownership of the learning. And that goal statement was to develop a culture of learning that enables the students to excel in the 21st century global community. So the objectives this group identified were to implement personalized learning plans, to create an environment of collaboration and problem solving and communication and creativity, to provide a skills-based real-world curriculum, a shared responsibility beyond the classroom, and encourage a global and technology-infused proactive approach. And then the last goal area was the facilities, class sizes, and security. And that goal statement was to create a safe and secure learning environment equipped to deliver 21st century educational expectations using efficient and sustainable facilities district-wide. The objectives there were to continue to assess and increase internal and external security, to continue to upgrade facilities to be energy and cost effective and sustainable, to create balanced classes within the schools and across the district, to design the facilities in a way that maximizes and balances the use of the existing space, and to continue to develop, maintain, and enhance existing facilities. So you can see that this plan then that you now have really creates kind of a roadmap for the district, and it spans all the different elements that a student would need to be successful. So this is said, so that was all of the what. What is it that needs to be accomplished in the next 5 years? So this is a template of what an action plan might look like, and this is the how. Then there's the work of the administration. So typically for each objective under each goal, you would list what activities need to be accomplished, what staff is responsible, what resources you need, the timeline, knowing that this is a 5-year process. There's going to be some things we can accomplish right away, some things we may need to budget for, other things are sequential and they need to build on one another. And then also importantly are the success indicators. How will the board know whether this was accomplished or not? How will you as the community know whether this was accomplished or not? So this is a way to kind of help keep us all involved in the progress of the district. So that was all I had, is making sure that we all recognize how important this process was. And I wanted to thank the board thank the administration, thank the staff and community, and really everyone who participated in this process. From New Jersey School Board's perspective, I have to say that we really enjoyed coming to Denville. We thought that the group was really engaged, was really enthusiastic, and really stayed focused on the students. So we're really pleased with the outcome, and I hope that you are too, and just really appreciated the opportunity. Does anyone have any questions?
I thought you guys did a great job keeping us focused. It was a challenge, and you did a great job. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you, Shirley. Dino's unfortunately not here. He's celebrating Passover tonight, but thank you from Dino and everyone. I know, and please thank Kathy and Matt for also assisting. Most importantly, thank you to the community who came out and supported the plan, the strategic plan process. You looked at it and said it wasn't your process or it wasn't your plan that you came up with, and I think the board feels the same way. It's not our plan. That was our goal, was to make it really the community's plan, and we were just there to help facilitate, help answer any questions, or just see the process along. So I'm excited about what we came out of here with. I think we've got some really, there are things on here that I don't know if this board would have came up with if we came up with our own plan. So that's what's really exciting to me, is it's truly a community plan, and I'm excited to see the action plan coming up from the administration. So thank you very much. Appreciate you coming.
My pleasure. Thank you. Good night.
Good night.
Jumping back onto the agenda, I'm going to go to good of the cause. Any committee reports anybody needs to give? None? Correspondence? Discussion items. I know we have on here grade level schools, substandard space. Steve, was there anything you wanted to add to that discussion? And we discussed the grade level schools quite a bit at the last meeting, and I think
it's important for us to keep the substandard space on there just to focus us, but we're with the action plans and all the other things we have in motion with our demographer, with our architect, just to keep us focused. That's basically how we did the sale of the 501 Opanaki. It seemed like it helped us, but I will remove grade level schools because we've already discussed that, and we'll move that to just substandard space going forward.
And Steve, just can you give us a quick update on where we stand? I know we had a couple different moving items here. I think first would be the demographer's update to the report. Is that the first step that we'll take here?
Yeah. So what the board approved at the last meeting, the architect's proposal to study and give us a feasibility, to finalize and give us a feasibility study. The board also approved a verbal resolution to update our current demographic report, and also try to look at possible developments coming down the road. So the first thing I did was I sent both of them an email saying that we want to make sure that this report reflects the demographer's information, meaning I don't want the architect to move on things that he can't go back from. I said even if that means delaying the project a month, because in his proposal it was to be delivered to us in May. I didn't think an extra month would make that much of a difference, so we said, please, let's do that. So we've provided Ross with all the information he needs to get moving on it. I have a meeting set up with him coming up in the next week, and then the architects they're doing what they have to do. Next thing is Ross will have his information. I'll try to get some more information from the town about those other ones we said that may be coming down the pipe. And I provided Ross with that 2016 report from the town on the building. I said, make sure these are in, and then let's see if we can find out some other ones. And so all these, there are a lot of moving parts, but the good news is the architect's report, his feasibility study will not be complete prior to whatever the demographer wants to add. It'll be reflected in his report. That's pretty much where we're at.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Anybody have any questions for Steve on that? Tomorrow, just as a side note, at the town council workshop, they are going to be talking about affordable housing. So they will have a presentation on it and the plan that they have. So if anybody's interested in going, I'm going to go. They invited the board. I know Dino's still out of town, so he asked me if I could go. I will be there. If anybody else wants to come, please let me know.
Mike,
Yeah.
I might go if I get out of time, but I
was thinking, would we want to, since they have a expert coming in, like, see if we could tape it like we tape ours?
So we can certainly ask the town. I know that they have not done that in the past with any of their meetings. We can
I
see.
mean, as a special, we don't want to get the word out, because even if this room is full, it's just a fraction of the membership.
I agree. I don't know if it's our place to do it, meaning that it's not really our meeting to record it. Although I may agree with you, I think the person who needs to make that decision is probably not one of the people sitting up here. Steve, would you agree?
Well, we have a policy, in our policy, somebody can record our meeting, but they do have to give us 24 hours notice, I believe.
And I believe that is correct for our.
I don't know if they have that policy though. I can only tell you what our policy is, I'm not sure if the
Maybe
town.
it's wondering if you could.
You want me to reach out to Steve and just see if it's all right?
If they wanted something like that. You reach more people, that's all.
Are we saying, can you record it, or are we saying, can we
No,
record it?
like, ask them if they.
If we can
want-
record it.
We have the equipment. I think it's always been when we don't have that ability for, whatever.
Saying offer if we want to do it and then give it to them to post, or?
I'll ask them if they want, if they're okay with us recording the meeting. But we're not asking them to record it, right, because they don't record theirs.
Well, as a courtesy, you can offer your service, right? Yeah, because I just feel like it's a pop-up issue with like an app, it's limited to an hour and a half. But you could, whether you post it or they host it, it doesn't really matter. It's just because you would get more
Well,
visibility.
All for us asking if we can do it, because I would like to be there, but I have previous commitments from before they sent us the invitation to it, so I'd be very interested to be able to see it, so it doesn't hurt to ask.
Steve, so even if it's a matter of asking them if we can record it and keep it amongst the board, sounds like there may be interest in the board hearing it too.
And would you, is somebody from the board, because I can't attend tomorrow, is somebody from the board going to record it on their phone, or you want to see if we can get somebody like our people in here to record it?
I don't know that everybody was recording as far as.
So you'd want a regular recording, right? Okay. I'll ask.
Like, just so you know, I had expressed, that I was going to attend, so I'll be there.
Okay. Sounds good.
Yeah, I mean, since it's a public thing and we all have the invite out, we need to worry about more.
We won't be discussing board business, so I don't think there'll be any issue with public meeting stuff, right, Steve?
I don't believe so, right, Harrison? As long as you're not, I would probably recommend if there's more than 3 of you, not sitting together in the back. It might look like you're talking about school business. Maybe that's the best idea, exception is reality, yeah.
Still discuss, public services.
Yeah, okay.
And just to interrupt, you made the announcement publicly that you will be in attendance, so, there is that transparency that's been satisfied, and you appearing. How many board members will be there
Who's
projected?
attending? 1, 2, 3.
Possibly 3, which is.
Oh.
3. Who should we get?
I'll come.
So 4.
But they basically sent an invite to all of us. It's going to impact the district about housing development.
Okay.
Any other discussion items? Going once, going twice? Okay. The time is now 8:32, and I'm going to open for public comments. Seeing none, I will close open comments at 8:33. We do have need for executive session, and we will vote after the executive session, just as a side note. Mrs. Wagner, would you mind moving us into executive session for legal?
I'm going to convene an executive session in accordance with Section 8 of the Open Public Meeting Act. The purpose of this closed session will be to discuss legal issues. Minutes of this session will be made available to the public when the need for the confidentiality no longer exists.
All second.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. All in favor? Yay?
Yay.
Any nays? Seeing none. Any abstentions? None. At 8:33, we are now in executive session, and like I said, we will vote after executive session. Are you all set?
Yep.
All right, it is 9:12, and we are back in open session and recording the meeting again. We are going to go to the agenda back to item 4A. Mr. Luer, if you wouldn't mind, would you walk us through old business A, education reports?
I would like to move item A1. The Board of Education affirms the following cases. HIV LV-04.
Second.
Thank you, Mrs. DeLuna. And just to clarify what we are voting on to reaffirm the administration's findings that the HIB case LV-04 was not determined to be HIB. Any questions from the board on that vote? Roll call, please.
Mr. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Cass?
Yes.
Mrs. DeLuna?
Yes.
Mrs. Lindsay?
Yes.
Mr. Luer?
Yes.
Mrs. Wagner?
Yes.
Thank you. I did want to just clarify the process that we go through for determining harassment, intimidation, and bullying. And I'm going to read something off the state law. So the state law defines harassment, intimidation, bullying as any gesture, any written, verbal, or physical act, or any electronic communication, whether it be a single incident or a series of incidents, that is reasonably perceived as being motivated either by an actual or perceived characteristic, such as race, color, religion, ancestry, national origin, gender, sexual orientation, gender identity, and expression, or a mental, physical, or sensory disability, or by any of the following distinguishing characteristics. So that is our first step when we determine there's a multitude of other criteria that are required to be met to determine whether it is a bullying incident. But the first thing that we as a board and administration are obliged by the state of New Jersey to do in law is to determine if it's being motivated by either actual or perceived characteristic. So I just wanted to clarify that. If there's any further questions on that, we certainly open up. Mr. Forte will be available for questions. There'll be additional documentation that we sent out that clarifies. Oh, I'm sorry, it's not a session where we can continue to talk. It's not back and forth. I just wanted to clarify that. And if any questions afterwards, please, Mr. Forte is available tomorrow or anytime to answer any questions you have. With that, do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Thank you, Mr. Cass. Mrs. Wagner got the second. All in favor? Aye. Any nays? Abstentions? We are adjourned at 9:16 p.m.
Sorry, I didn't want to, it's just, just the way the process works is just recording everything. So Mr. Forte will be available for any questions you have.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for coming.
And who do I get in contact with if you'll-
Steve. Done?